Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kassiah and this is SiahSwag, and we have a new tutorial today for a brand new pattern that came out today if you're watching this on February 1st. This is month number 2 of Bag of the Month Club. It is from Kaur Threads and it is perfection. This handbag is the February Bag of the Month Club bag from Kaur Threads, and it is called the Charyn. I hope I'm saying that right. It's Charyn. I'm guessing it's Charyn. The Charyn handbag. And if you guys have not attempted a Kaur Threads pattern yet, I highly recommend you do. Her patterns are so gorgeous. They are so well written, so well thought out. Every step is perfection. I always love making her bags. So I'm telling you what, if you want a classy handbag, this one is amazing. Okay, so this one is the first one I made. I love it so much. I wish I went into an office that I could carry a bag. Like, I don't go into an office, so I have no reason to carry around a bag like this, but this is what I would carry if I did. Okay, so this bag is made with the Wild and Fierce collection from Tulip Bee. And so this vinyl is soft, has a bit of a stretch. So what I did was I did a woven interfacing throughout all of these leopard print pieces, and then Decaville light and heavy on the spots where she suggests it in the pattern, and it came out perfectly. I love the shape of this first one. I have slip pockets front and back. These slip pockets, the way they are assembled, super cool, very smart. I love the assembly of the front pockets. It's got sides that snap in, so you can leave it snapped in or out. And then it has a recessed zipper along the top. It also has connectors for a crossbody strap if you would like. You open it up and it's got a gorgeous zipper overlay pocket and a slip pocket on one side. And then, you guys, a welted slip pocket. I love a welted slip pocket. Love it. If you haven't tried one of those yet, try it. They're amazing. They look so good inside of a bag. This bag is a drop-in lining. It is not a hard drop-in lining. It is very easy. There's just a lot of steps to the assembly of the bag. So I would say it's probably an intermediate pattern, which I think is what it's labeled on the pattern as well. So this is my bag number 1. I love it. Bag number 2 that we do in the tutorial today. Right here, I made this out of Tulip Bee's faux reel, all on the outside, and then Wonderground's canvas on the inside. I'll show that to you. It's got the big old slip pockets front and back. So pretty. The snaps on the side of this don't work as well because of my vinyl is a stiffer, thicker vinyl. So I tend to run into that issue sometimes when I use this vinyl. I can't really snap in the sides and have it look pretty. So that's okay. This one, the sides snap in perfectly. So keep that in mind for materials you're using if you want to have the sides snap in. My zipper closure here. And the inside, you guys, it's so pretty on the inside. You've got those 2 pockets there. You've got your welted slip pocket there. I've got purse feet on the bottom, and I love this pattern. I will show you in the next clip when we go over all the pattern pieces how I interfaced this. I think if I were to do it again with this faux reel, I would leave the snaps off the side because it's just too hard to snap in the faux reel. And then I would put more interfacing on my front and back main panels, probably a layer of Decaville light. I only put the accent piece of Decaville light on, so I would probably fully interface these front and back panels. I think that's all I would change though with the faux reel material. Guys, that's it. I will link everything that you need down in the description where to find Bag of the Month Club, where to find all the products I used. This pattern probably will not be available. I'm guessing May 1st. It will be available to the general public, but for now, it is strictly Bag of the Month Club bag. And so far, both January and February's patterns, totally worth the membership. Go do it. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Go do it. I am so excited to see March's. All right, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions. I will try to answer them all. I hope this video is helpful, and let's get sewing. Okay, let's go over our pieces for this adorable bag. I have quite a few things prepped on these pieces, so I'll go over that part in this and show you everything that I have pre-marked and put on already and all that kind of good stuff. All right, so my exterior pieces. I'm gonna get out the slip pockets first. So if you want to do front and back slip pockets, you'll have two pieces. You don't have to do the front and back slip pockets, but I'm telling you what, it makes the bag. So here are my front and back slip pockets. They are just the faux real, and I don't have the majority of it interfaced because it's a thicker vinyl for the most part of my exterior pieces. I just have these Decaville light pieces to interface where it needs that extra support. So this will be my front slip pocket piece. I have my marking for the snap, and then I have my Decaville light piece on there. And then I've installed my nameplate. I need to cover it with some tape because it folds down like that, okay? So make sure that your Decaville light is in the correct place. It's gonna support the top of that slip pocket piece. So I have two of those. On the back, I put this little patch on there. I just thought it was cute. It's gonna be on the back bottom. But again, I have that Decaville light piece and my marking for my snap with some extra interfacing there. So that'll be my back slip pocket. My main front and back panel pieces are right here. Again, no extra interfacing for the big part of the bag, just that piece of Decaville light up at the top to give it support. And then I have all of my drop-in lining lines already marked on my exterior pieces, okay? So that's what that line is. So two of those. My interior top panel piece is right here, and there's two of those, and I do have my drop-in lining line marked and some Decaville light on that as well, just because you really don't want like your top to be saggy, okay? My zipper placket pieces, I'm doing this time, I'm doing it a little differently. I'm just doing a normal zipper placket with canvas and faux. I was afraid if I did the big one like she has in the pattern, which is gorgeous. And if you're using a lighter weight vinyl, it is a fabulous technique. But with this heavier stuff, I was a little worried about all of the layers of vinyl I would be sewing through. So I am just doing a normal zipper placket. I've got my side panel pieces. And again, I have those prepped. There's two of those. I do have Decaville light on those because I really want the sides to be nice and sturdy. And then I have my drop-in lining light, and I have my magnetic snap placements marked. And there are two of those. My handles, right here, I've got two handles. I am putting boning in my handles. I'm kind of loving the boning in the handles. It helps them just stand up and look really nice. So I've kind of prepped this one, and I'll show you how I do the second one. And then and I cut this so it's an inch shorter on each side, okay? And I think I did my handles just a tad longer than she has in the pattern. I added about, I think 4 inches to them. And I feel like handles are just kind of your personal preference, what length you want. So figure that out and go from there. I have my base, Decaville Heavy, purse feet installed. They're just screw-on purse feet. I use the purse feet markings in the pattern. And then I also top stitched 3/4 of an inch in around all sides. I just really like the look of that, and I feel like it secures whatever interfacing you use on your base as well. I have 2 D-ring connectors if you wanted to put crossbody strap connectors on it. They're 3/4 inch, 4 3/4 inch hardware. You could change up the size of hardware and use what you have. I have Decavil light through the middle and then tape on the edges and all prepped and ready to go. So for my inside pieces, I have my interior slip pocket here. Just one of those. And I am doing a slip pocket trim piece with that. And I have the center of that marked and tape on that ready to go. And then I'm going to do a zipper overlay. And I have that all taped and ready to go. And then there is, oh, you know what I forgot? My welt pocket strip. I need to go cut out a welt pocket strip out of vinyl. You should have one of those if you're going to do the welt pocket. And then you should have a facing for that. And I'm just doing canvas for the inside. And here is my welt pocket lining and my zipper pocket lining. So you should have 3 pocket pieces total. And then my 2 main lining pieces, they're just canvas. Nothing crazy about that. I do need to put my drop-in lining line on this, right? No, that's going to be on the top piece. Nope, I don't need it on this. And then that's all the pieces. For the hardware, I already have my nameplate installed. I have snaps, magnetic snaps. I'm using 18 millimeter magnetic snaps. I have some zipper tape, some rivets. You definitely need rivets for those front slip pockets. It really looks cute. My D-ring triangles for the crossbody strap. I am using 2 zipper pulls. And what else? I'm going to do a zipper end cap instead of a vinyl strap or zipper end. So it's up to you what you want to do for that. And I think that is all the hardware we need. And I do have purse feet installed on it already. So purse feet if you wanted to do that. I think that's it. Okay, let's start sewing this bag up. Okay, so I'm not going to make a crossbody strap on camera for this bag, but she has amazing methods in her pattern for some different kinds of crossbody straps. So I highly recommend you check that out. Yeah, I love her patterns. She always has great ways to do things. So this is, we're going to prep the handles and my crossbody strap connector. Okay. I already kind of have this handle ready to go. I'm just clipping it together, and then I'm going to show you how I did this. I did add some boning, which you can get off of Amazon. It's a 1/4 inch wide. I really like handles with it now, especially ones for totes that I want to stand up. So this is what it comes in a roll like this. It's fabulous. You don't have to do it, but I'm going to show you how I do it in these. I cut my handles to 20 inches long. I feel like that's kind of a personal preference, how long or how short you want the handles for this bag. So think about that. Got my center line marked. I'm just folding my long edges into that center mark, and then I will place the boning down in the middle of one side. I have shown this on the Demelza as well, because I really liked it on that bag too, which is what gave me the idea to do it on this bag. Okay, I've got that. And then I'm going to get some 1/4 inch wide tape. And I'm just going to place it down the center of one side of this handle here. And then I will put the boning on top of that and sandwich it in between the 2 layers. So I cut it 1 inch shorter on each side. So I just want to keep it out of the very ends. It just kind of helps with the bulkiness of it. Okay, just like that. Easy. And then clip that together. And then I will sew down both sides of this handle. And we are good to go. Okay, and then I'm also going to just go ahead and prep these little D-ring connectors real quick. I do like to put some Decaville light down the middle of mine. And I have tape on the edges. I'm just folding them in to meet in the middle. And I will top stitch down each side of that as well. Okay, beautiful. Let's go ahead and top stitch all 4 of these things. Okay, done with my D-ring connectors and my handles. Again, if you're doing a crossbody strap, go ahead and put that together. And then let's go to the next step. Okay, we're going to head on to the main zipper closure. I need to do my 90-degree turn real quick on my zipper. And then I am going to show you the full zipper placket that she does in the pattern. I'm going to show you how she does that. I'm not sure if that's going to be too thick for my bag yet, because I'm using a pretty thick, oh my gosh, my words are not coming to me today. I am using a pretty thick vinyl. And so I'm not sure yet if that zipper placket is going to be too much for my layers, but I'm going to make one because it is really cool. And I want to show you the technique that she has in here. Okay, so I marked evenly across my zipper. I'm going to pinch at my marking and bring that pinch and lay it right underneath my zipper teeth right there. I'm just going to put a little straight pin in that and then baste it. Nothing different or fancy about this. This is the normal 90-degree zipper turn. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Okay, just like that. And then I like to just melt, make sure it's all melted and sealed. Beautiful. All right, so there's my zipper. I'm going to install a zipper end cap when I'm all done. So I'm not doing it at this point. All right, so I have one of my zipper plackets already prepped and ready to go. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So you should have 2, okay? So she gives the measurement of where to draw your line in the pattern right here. So draw it on both sides. And then I put a little strip of double-sided tape, and I'm going to fold my short end to that line just like that. Beautiful. Okay. And then on this side, again, measurement is in the pattern. You're going to do a marking from one folded edge of the placket in, like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put some 1/8 inch tape from that line to the end. Okay, beautiful. I'm not adding my zipper pull-on till the very end, so I can also just separate this, okay? You don't have to separate it. I feel like it's a bit easier when you do. All right, so I'm going to take this tape off here, and then I'm going to lay my zipper tape right side down, and I'm starting it at that marking that we made. And that's where the tape starts, right? All the way down here. Beautiful. And then I'm going to put another piece of tape. Again, if you're not a big fan of tape, you can baste and clip, okay? But when you use the 1/8 inch tape, it's nice because it stays out of your seam allowance. And I think I have to change to a zipper foot too, don't I? Yeah, I'm going to be changing to a zipper foot for this as well. All right, another piece of tape. You're going to take that off. And then this is going to fold in half. And it should line up pretty dang evenly of where your zipper is. So you're going to line up these edges here. Okay, right sides together. Yep. And do you see how it just encases it? Right there. Beautiful. All right, so that's my one side of my zipper placket. I'm going to change to a zipper foot, and I am going to sew along this edge with the zipper, and then we'll turn this right side out and top stitch it all. It's really cool how it's put together. Okay, I have my zipper foot on. We're going to go ahead and sew along this, along the edge with the zipper. Stay on your zipper panel. Don't go onto your zipper tape right there, okay? And then you want to just trim this little corner here to kind of just reduce the bulk right here, right there. Okay, same with this side. And then she also has you trim a little bit on this edge. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and repeat for the other panel because I need to sew this with my zipper foot, and I like to top stitch with my other foot. So I am going to just go ahead and put this one together. And I did this backwards. It needs to be on this side. Make sure you do them opposite because they lay opposite ways. And I think that, nope. Okay. Hold, please. Okay, so I'm just repeating same steps. for the other side. All right, so now you want to turn those right side out. I like to kind of poke out my corner here. I'm going to get these all clipped into place, and then I will change my zipper foot back to my normal foot to top stitch. Okay, we're going to go ahead and top stitch all the way around. Go ahead and mark your centers as well. Okay, all done with those. Let's go to our front slip pocket and back slip pocket. Okay, we're going to move on to our slip pocket pieces. So you should have one for the front and one for the back. I already installed my male magnetic snap on my front one. And then there are markings that you need to do on the sides here. You need to measure in using the pattern. She gives you the measurement and the pattern, and then put tape down. We're going to be folding the edges to that line on both of these slip pockets. Okay, so I have that prepped and ready to go. I need to cover my nameplate down here before I forget. Always cover those prongs with something. I almost always use this self-adhesive woven. It's so sticky and covers, and it's fabulous. Or you can use just good old duct tape, okay? All right, so I'm going to show you how I did that. So here's my placement for my snap. I transferred it from the pattern piece. She also gives measurements for it. All right, and then I'm going to put my washer right there in the center. And then I'm going to draw my cut lines. Really simple. And then get my little blade tool. You can use a seam ripper. I like to use these blade tools, Amazon. And then install my male snap, which is the one with the nub. Okay, put your washer over it. I'm going to fold my prongs out to reduce bulk this time here. And then again, covering it. Beautiful. Okay, so this one is my back piece. Okay, so for both of these, I'm going to take the tape off and fold this to the line. It's just going to make this pocket nice and finished on the sides. So go ahead and do that to both front and back pockets. Okay, so whatever I do to this front pocket, I will also do to the back pocket. There are different measurements. If you want to make one of the pockets not as deep as the other, I'm going to make them the same. So I'm going to do it twice on both pockets. Okay, so from the bottom front, you're going to measure up. Measurements are in the pattern. Okay, you're going to do a marking up from the bottom on the right side of your slip pocket, okay? Front, right side, up from the bottom. Measurement is in the pattern. On step G, page 26. And then on the back, I'm gonna make another marking up from the bottom here. And I'm going to put some 1/8 inch double-sided tape. I'm starting it at the top of the stabilizer here. And I am going to run it down and stop it at that marking here. Okay, just like that. Same thing for this side. Right there. Beautiful. Okay. You're going to do that for both pockets, front and back. Okay, after you've done those little prep markings and tapings, you're going to take this tape off and you're going to fold this pocket, and you want the back here to meet that line that we drew earlier. And then it should stay together with that tape on the edges, and you want to just line it up as evenly as you can here. Okay. I put some clips too in case my tape doesn't completely hold. You could also like secure it there with tape or clips, but not double-sided tape, because you're going to need to be able to open this up and get to the 2 layers. All right, so that's what we're looking at right now. Using those markings that we made on the front, right here and here, we're going to sew. We're going to start here. We're going to come up and across and back down, doing a top stitch just on this top section. If you want to pull your threads through and tie, you can do that so it's nice and neat, and one continuous stitch. And I'll show you how I do that. So I am going to place my needle down and in, and I'm not going to backstitch. And then I'm going to try and end at my marking and just pull my piece out without back stitching. That's what we're looking at. I just top stitch from there to there. I'm also going to get a wipe and just clean off any silver pen. Okay, I'm going to turn that over, pull through my threads, and tie them off. It's on the inside back part, and so it shouldn't be visible. And then when we attach this to our bag, we'll do the same thing, starting right, well, no, we start down a little bit, I think. No, we do a double top stitch. That's what we do. I had to think about that. What do we do? I'm just going to tie this off. And you can also kind of melt those. When they melt, they kind of seal it a little bit more. Okay. I've shown this many times on like zipper overlays and whatnot. Same exact method, okay? Okay, I'm going to grab my back slip pocket piece and repeat the same thing. Okay, so after you do that first round of top stitching, you're going to go ahead and do a second round of top stitching. I didn't understand that part the first time I made this bag, and I almost forgot to do it again because you will be doing a double row of stitching when you sew this pocket onto your main panel piece. And so you need your stitches to all line up, right? So I'm going to go ahead and repeat what I did with this first one. I will be tying my threads back through the back of the piece and not back stitching because then I want it to be a continuous stitch on my panel and not have back stitching and that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to try my hardest to line it up with that first row there, and I'm doing just an 1/8 inch away from that first top stitch, which is about a 1/4 inch away from the side. And then I will try and stop where I stopped my other stitching here. That's pretty dang good. All right. Just like that, pull them through the back and tie them off like we did with that first row. So I'm going to go ahead and do my second row of top stitching on the back pocket as well. And then I'll pull through and tie off camera. Beautiful. Okay, that's what I want. So I'm going to tie those threads through and we'll head to placing these on our front and back main panels. Okay, so now we are going to add our pockets to these front and back panels here, our main panels. I have my markings, so I did my centers. And then you want to have a line marked across the top. Again, measurements are in the pattern for these markings. And from the center out, you're going to be doing a measurement for placement. All right, so it's pretty much you're marking a square onto your main panel. I put a little bit of double-sided tape along my edges here, not a ton, just a little so it doesn't shift as I'm sewing this down. You could also, if you didn't want to clip the very bottom, you could also just do a layer like that. Okay, so you want to line this pocket up. Ooh, I didn't mark my bottom center, but that's okay. Down here, actually, you know, I think it's more important to make sure your top is placed correctly because you want the two top pieces to fold and be even. So I would make sure your top is even before you place down anything else. So when you go to finish the bag, you are folding this top piece down to that line there and doing a drop in lining. So you want to be sure that the top of the main panel piece and the top of your slip pocket are even. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I have this placed where I want it. It looks pretty good. It's not completely, there we go. Okay, beautiful. Oh, that's why we don't want to put tape on it. Just kidding. Don't tape down the bottom edge because you have to lift it up. What was the other side I wanted to tape? Okay, the back of the slip pocket you could tape down right there. All right, I'm going to lift this up and I am going to sew down the back of the slip pocket right here. If you wanted a more shallow pocket, you would be sewing it, you know, up more here. So I'm going to do that and then we will sew on this pocket. Sorry, I really want to make sure this is even. I think making sure it's even along the top line is the most important. I didn't take my tape off the sides. I'm like, why isn't it sticking? Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to flip this up and sew it on. Now, if you want, you can just clip this down. Beautiful. All right. So we want to finish out this stitching, right? So we are going to sew from here up or here down, whichever way you want to do it. But So the outside row of stitching, you're doing completely solid. But this second row of stitching here, you want to leave a little bit of a gap for a rivet. So I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch down from that second row of top stitching right there. So I will start my second row here and come down, and then I can place a rivet right there, and same on this side. It just leaves a little hole so you're not punching through any stitching and breaking the thread, and then it's giving you that extra security of the rivet. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I ended right where I started that stitching there. Do you see how nice that looks? And then when I pull it through the back, it's just one continuous row of stitching. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so I'll tie that off back here, and then we'll do that second row, and I'll end a 1/4 inch before. Okay, I ended before, so now there's a little gap right there, and I'll be putting a rivet right there. Also kind of important that you are taking off your silver marking pen if that's what you're using as you go along, just so it doesn't permanently stay on your material, okay? All right, we are going to do all the other panels the same way. Okay, here we go. Okay. There are my 2 panels all done. I did baste the bottom of them, so go ahead and baste them shut. I'm going to install these rivets next, and then we'll install the other side of the snap. Okay, so our next step is to install the rivets and the other side of the magnetic snap on our front and back. So I already did my back pocket. It's all done. I can put it aside. I'm going to show you how I did it with the front one. All right, here's our front. So that little space that we left in between that second top stitch there, that's where we're putting our hole for our rivet, okay? Make sure you don't punch through any stitching when you do the hole. The whole point was to avoid breaking any of the stitches, okay? So I've got my 2 rivet holes there. I did cut out an extra little piece of Decaville Heavy just because, you know, this is a main pocket on the front. It's going to be opening and closing a lot. You want to make sure that those rivets are giving you the support you need. So put a little extra piece on the back there. Okay, and I will take that to my rivet press and press that rivet on. Okay, put this one through. A little extra piece. And my rivet. Maybe. Come here, you. Beautiful. Okay, the other thing that, so I'll press that off camera. I'll remember to press those. Okay, so the other thing that we need to do is put the other side of our magnet there. So pretty much all we do is press it into the vinyl and it leaves like an indentation. You could always like color it with your silver marking pen. You can color it and press it however you want to do it. This one leaves a good marking, so I'm just going to press it really good like that. And then I can see the outline of where it needs to go right there. All right, and then I'm just going to take my washer and make my markings and do my slits and install my snap. Like that. Washer. Since it already has some Decaville light behind it, I'm not going to put any extra interfacing behind it. I think we'll be okay. Or stabilizer, I think we'll be okay. And then cover that. Whoops. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go press those rivets on and we will move on. Okay, so we have our side panel pieces, more snap installation. So we want to install a set of snaps on each one and make sure you protect your prongs, fold them in, not out this time. I think did I fold them out? Yeah, I folded them out on the last one. You want to fold them in on these side panels, cover those prongs, and we're good to go. little side note. So you can see that I did the opposite on these, right? So the male snap is in a different spot. I didn't install them both on this side and both on this side because when your bag is all done, they're going to be like this together. So my female snap and my male snap are on the same sides. Just a little something to think about when you assemble these side panels. Okay, so we're going to put our exterior together now. So we have our 2 main panel pieces and the base. Grab one of the main panels and the base piece. Line up your centers, right sides together, and we're going to clip this all along the bottom edge here. And we are going to sew it on. Okay, here we go. Now, she does not have you top stitch this, okay? So you don't need to top stitch. We're not gonna, but we are going to add the other side of our panel now. So here's our other side. Okay. Line up your centers. And I always just clip centers on all my pieces before I start sewing them. So even if I don't show it on the camera, I have probably clipped all my centers before I began, okay? It just helps no matter what bag you're making, unless you have to leave something raw edged and you need it to be nice and smooth. No matter what you're making, it almost always helps to know where your center points are. Okay, I'm actually gonna turn it this way. Then we will stitch this side on. Okay, so when you're done, it looks like this. Ooh, she's pretty. Okay, so we have to do one little thing here. In these corners, fold up your panel like that. In these corners, you're going to do a little cutout. And the measurement for that cutout is in the pattern, okay? You're not going to be cutting through your stitches. Just right next to them, okay? So you're cutting out a little box out of your seam just like that. Okay, you're going to do that on all 4 corners. And this just really is going to help with the base assembly and the side assembly. Like when it'll all come together very nicely. Okay. Helps with the bulk, helps the way it sews on. It's just a great little method. And then on this side too. So I am not cutting any stitching that we have just done, okay? Nowhere am I cutting any stitches. So if you're cutting stitches, you're doing it wrong. I'm just cutting out the seam allowance part here. Okay, so I did that on all 4 corners. Now we're going to get our side panel pieces, okay? Side panel pieces again. Oh, I didn't clip my center on this base piece. Just a minute. I really do want to just line this up, so I'm going to clip my center here. My center here. Okay. Beautiful. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to clip it centered onto my base, right sides together. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to sew from one cutout right here to the bottom. I'm going to sew from the beginning to the end with that seam allowance. It will go past the base panel and onto your main panel, and that is correct. Okay, so along the bottom of the side panel piece from cutout to cutout. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and put the other one on too. Also, she has you put some double-sided tape on these side panels. Especially if you have kind of slick material, it really helps for the end assembly of these side panels. I mean, obviously you can clip it like crazy, but it does help. It just secures it a little bit more. So I did do that. But be aware you're not taping it down the entire section. You are leaving it off like a couple inches off the top. She has the measurements in the pattern for how far down to place the tape. Okay, here we go. Same thing on this side, okay? Okay, so now after you have, oh, I forgot to do it on this piece. After you have that done, I need to put tape on that piece. We are going to line up the top here and clip it all the way down. And it's going to kind of make a little, I don't know, it should fit pretty nicely. And you are going to stop and start at the same point where you ended this stitch. So you're going to finish it off. I will show you. All right, here we go. So make sure that when you're doing this, that your top edges here are even, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clip this side on too. Okay. That's what it looks like when it's all clipped on. I'm going to go ahead and sew from the top down, and I'm going to stop right there where the other stitching began. Same thing with this side. All right, can you see that? That's what it should look like. All right, let's do the other side. So for this side, I'm gonna start down at the bottom. So I kind of just squish it in there. Okay, so that's my first side. So I'm just trying to show you again what that looks like down here. Okay. Look inside. I think it looks great. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and repeat for this side. I forgot to put the tape on. I think it's definitely needed, so I'm going to go ahead and put my tape on, and then we'll repeat the assembly. All right, so before we go any farther, we want to trim down our seam allowance just a little bit, except for at the very top, because we want that to be able to lay flat. So I just started about 1.5 inches down and trimmed that away. I'm gonna show you on this side right here. So about right there, I'm gonna put a little slit into it because I do want that to lay flat, but I don't cut through the seam. And then I'm just gonna trim the rest of this down just to about 1/4 inch So it's not a ton that I'm trimming off, but enough to make a difference, right? Okay, about right there. And then you want to put some double-sided tape on this little top seam here, and we're going to lay that flat. This is a drop-in lining bag, so we need our seams to lay flat here, and then we also will be taping it down as well. So I'm just butterflying these open with some tape. I'll probably put some clips too, because my tape doesn't always hold as long as I need it to. Okay, just like that. Same thing on this one. Let's tape it and open it. Beautiful. Okay. So I have all of my seams open and my seams trimmed down. Before I tape, usually if I tape now and then turn it out, my tape kind of comes off. So I'm going to turn it right side out, and then I'm going to put my double-sided tape on. It just works, and fold it down. It works a little bit better for me that way. Totally personal preference. So do what works for you. I'm going to give this a shot of heat with my hairdryer and turn this right side out. Pretty. Okay. So here is my bag so far. It's so cute. That's the back or the front, I guess. I don't know. I guess I need to decide, huh? And then you have your slip pockets. And then your sides are going to snap in. Oh, she looks cute. Okay, so what you want to do before we head to the lining is I'm going to just put a row of double-sided tape along the top edge, and then I will fold this line down, or this top edge down, to meet my line there. And it should be even with your slip pocket, okay? You want to make sure that that top fold and your slip pocket line up. I'm going to tape that all down and put some clips on it, and we'll head to the lining. Okay, so I just want to show you this real quick before we move on. I folded down the edge with tape. I like to put clips on these bigger seams because they tend to pop up. But that's what you should be looking at when your exterior is all done. Looks good. I'm going to head to the lining. Yay! Okay, so we're going to head to the lining, and the first thing we're going to do is the welt pocket. I love this welt pocket. I highly recommend it. It's not hard. It's very similar to a zipper installation with the facing, okay? So I have my lining marked. I have my center and how far down I want to place this. So I'm just going to take this. This is my facing, and I have the box marked out on it for where I need to sew. I'm going to center that there. And I am just going to sew around this box first, okay? That's what we have. This is very similar to a zipper installation. You want to cut along this box and do the little Y seam at the end there and turn it through. So I did not use bonded poly for this pocket for a reason. It is a lot more difficult to use a material that doesn't crease or iron when you're doing a facing. Nylon is a little tricky. It's doable, but you have to use tape to just tape everything in its place because it does not crease and it does not iron. So, you know, think about that when you're doing a pocket like this. That's why I went ahead and did canvas for this one. Try to get close to your stitching, but not to snip through it. I have snipped through it many times. All right, and then you want to turn it through to the back. And I'm just going to put a couple clips so it stays in place for me for a minute. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. See, it kind of creases back pretty nicely. And that's what it looks like from the front. Okay, you want to get your welt pocket piece here. Your accent, I don't know what it's called. Your vinyl piece, okay? I'm going to fold that in half. Wrong sides together. Okay, and now I want to just do a top stitch. I'm going to start at this bottom side here, come up and across and back down. You could totally baste along the bottom too if you wanted to. That is a choice. Oh, you know what? Nope, she doesn't top stitch. She does the bottom edge. Doesn't she? Ah, she doesn't top stitch this. That's just if you're not using tape. Well, I top stitched it. I think I top stitched it in my last bag too. Okay. So personal choice. There you go. You're going to put another piece of tape along the bottom raw edge here, not the finished. Okay. This is where your placement gets a little finicky, okay? And where you need this to kind of be laying down. All right, so you want this topped finish edge to be pretty close to that top edge opening of your pocket, okay? Because it pretty much is supposed to cover, but not all the way past, just up to the top of the opening. And then you're going to just tape your welt accent piece in place, okay? Again, this is where it gets tricky with material that doesn't really... Cotton is fabulous for this type of pocket. Okay, just like that. If you wanted to, you could run a piece of tape along the top here. This is what I did when I was using the nylon. To get that to stay where you want it. See how that now sticks? Okay. So when you turn it over, you should see the top of that welt pocket piece, but there shouldn't be a big gap in between the two. All right, and then that's how you know it's in the right place. We are then going to put the actual pocket lining on next. So at this point, the installation of your pocket piece here pretty much becomes the same as a zipper overlay, honestly. So you have this put where you need it to go, right? And then you're going to take your lining piece and you're just going to put it on the bottom part here, centered. And then you're going to flip it over. So your zip pocket piece is going up past the top of your lining. And all you're going to do right now is sew along the bottom edge of this welted pocket, just like you do a zipper overlay. So you're going to start like one stitch before and one stitch after, and then we're going to move the pocket and put it on the top of it and finish out our box. So almost exactly the same as a zipper overlay installation. And my thread blends in enough. I'm not going to worry about pulling my threads through. I'm just back stitching. Okay, so I did a line from here to here. And then I'm going to put another piece of tape underneath the pocket here. So when I fold the pocket down, it stays in place. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take this bottom edge of the pocket and bring it up to the top. Maybe. And I just lined it up with my facing piece along that top edge there. Oh, so pretty. Okay, and now I'm going to finish out my box.
So that's what the pocket looks like from the front. Oh, so cute. See how it opens like that? I love a welted pocket. I think they look so nice inside a bag. And the back's like this, so now we need to close out the sides. So I like to lay it lining side up and pull back my lining so I can see the pocket. And then I'm just gonna sew this pocket shut along the sides. Okay, there's my welted pocket. Let's move on to the next pocket. Okay, our next pocket is just a zipper overlay pocket. We've done that a million times. We've got this, right? Okay, so I have my center and my placement marked, even if you can't see it. I can. It's with a chalk pen. So I know where to lay this. I'm just going to fold it in half, find my center. It's always hard to get the right angle for this. We're going to go right on there. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Zipper overlay, and I'm going to sew around the outside of it. I guess I'll pull my threads through and make it look pretty. All right, here we go. Okay, after you have that sewn around the outside, go ahead and cut out the middle. Just enough that it's away from the edges of your overlay. You don't want it to show when it's the right side. All right, just like that. I'm gonna get my zipper, and it has the pole installed. I'm gonna go ahead and place the zipper into my zipper box first. So I'm gonna take off just the bottom. I'm gonna place that in, and then I'll take off the top. And if you kind of fold this, you can see and try and get that centered. Okay, and then I'll take the top. It's a little farther down towards the bottom. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Just like that, and you want it closing to the left usually. Okay, I'm gonna take my lining piece here, and just like we did with the welt pocket, we're doing the same thing with this. So we're going to place our lining, zipper pocket lining, along the bottom edge of our zipper here. Okay, right side down. So when you flip this over, your pocket again is going up past the top of your lining, okay? You should see the right side of your zipper pocket lining piece and the right side of your lining. And we're gonna just sew along that bottom edge. Again, just like we did with the welt pocket. Same process. Except now there's a zipper instead of a welt pocket. And I will tie these because it's a little bit more obvious on an overlay with your threads. Okay, so that's what it looks like from here to here. Let's pull them through and we'll press the pocket down and sew the rest of the box. Okay, now we're going to bring the pocket up to the top of the zipper. Just like that. And we are going to finish out the box. So we'll start here, come up, across, and back down. Okay, let's close up the sides real quick. We don't need to leave them open, so we're closing them up just like we did the welt pocket. Sorry for the barking Marley May. There's our zipper pocket. Last thing we need to do is add a slip pocket on top of this. So let me get that step and we will head into the slip pocket. All right, so the last pocket that we have to do is the slip pocket that's gonna go on the zipper overlay side of the lining. So here's my slip pocket piece. Be sure you have it laying the correct way. The first time I did this, I accidentally laid it this way. That's incorrect. It needs to be longer than it is taller, okay? So you're going to measure in and do a line down each side with some double-sided tape, and you're going to fold the edge to that line, finishing the sides of the pockets. This is my go-to way to do a slip pocket as well. It makes the most sense to me. It makes the cleanest finish, in my opinion. So we're going to do that. Beautiful. And you can either baste this next part or just put a little strip of tape along the top here. Okay, maybe. There we go. And then you're going to fold it wrong sides together, right sides out. This raw edge, okay? Oops, let's do it this way. That might be easier. Again, like I said, you could just baste this part if you wanted to. Okay, so this is my pocket now. And then I have my trim piece here. I have a line down the middle and some double-sided tape along each side. And I'm just going to sandwich this over this raw edge here. And I like to place it just a little below that center line because then that accounts for the thickness that you're folding it over. And then I am going to put a little tag right here on this pocket. I think it's a cute place for a tag. This is currently one of my favorites. It just says, "Thanks, I made it." I just think it's really cute. All right, and then I'm going to fold this and try and get as even as a fold as you can. I clip. It doesn't tend to want to stick very well, so I'm just going to clip it. Maybe as I throw all my clips, as I do. Okay, beautiful. And then we're going to top stitch that down. I am going to trim this little piece off here. All right, let's top stitch this little edge down here. Very cute. Check the back side. It looks like I didn't fully catch it right there. So all you do is you do a second row of top stitching. You do a double stitch. Susan would be proud. Double stitch. It's her favorite.
Beautiful. And now I know that I caught the edge there. We're good to go. I'm going to put this on my lining piece. And I like to do a little thing of tape along this bottom edge just so it doesn't shift. Because you can't really pin this, right? If you had some sew-type magnets, I suppose you could do that. Okay, so we're going to place it onto our pocket. Make sure that when you do this part, you are flipping up your zipper pocket because you don't want that getting sewn underneath your slip pocket. So I'm just gonna clip that up. I have it marked with a chalk pen. It's barely noticeable, but I can see it. And do I have a center line? Oof, it's kind of faded. Just a second. Let me remark. I can't see very well here. There, that's a little better. All right. And then if you want to separate this pocket, you can. I would highly recommend it. It's a pretty long pocket. You don't want it floppy. So I just fold this in half like that. And there. Cute. All right, I'm going to mark my center on that pocket as well. All right, now I'm going to sew this on. I'm just going to do it all at once. She has rivets added to her slip pocket. I'm not going to. I'm just sewing mine on. That's totally just personal preference. Do it however you would like. Here we go. Again, if you are currently sewing through your zipper pocket, you are doing it wrong. Make sure your zipper pocket's pulled up, okay? Okay. Beautiful. Slip pocket added. All of our pockets are done. Looking good. Okay, that's what that lining should look like. Next step. Okay, so we are going to move on and put the handle onto our top panel lining piece and our D-ring or your little triangle ring for the crossbody strap, however you want to do it. So I've already done the first one. This is what we're looking like. We're just going to do it the same for both sides. You put this on the same side each time because then when it's put together, it's opposite. Okay, so we're going to do this. Here we go. Here is my top panel piece. Make sure that you have it laying correctly. It is tapered on the sides, so there is a correct top and bottom. So I already have my drop-in lining line marked on the top, so I know which one's on the top. And my center's marked here. So get a ruler.
Measurements are in the pattern for all of these markings. So I'm using the center of my panel as my jumping off point, and I'm measuring out from that center marking. Okay, one line here, and then one line here. So those are my handle placements. And then there's one more marking out from the center onto the right side over here for your D-ring, triangle ring, whatever, crossbody strap connector. Okay, so I've got 3 placement markings. And then also on this D-ring one, I want to do another mark up like this. So it makes kind of a crisscross pattern because you're going to place the first little piece a 1/2 inch up. Beautiful. Okay, so I want to take my handle and your folded, your 2 sides. You just make sure whatever you do, it's the same on both bags. So where my fold edge is, I'm going to have that going out. I also want an overhang of 1/4 inch. So I'm going to do a little marking on that end, 1/4 inch up, 1/4 inch up. All right. So I'm going to start with this first one, and I'm going to place it on the, I need to make sure I'm doing this correct. Okay. I need to make sure that both sides are the same. On the outside edge. So the inside edge of your handle is laying on that line, and I have an overhang of 1/4 inch, and I'm going to baste this on. Beautiful. And then I'm going to bring this over and make sure I'm going to clip it at the top. This is kind of a little awkward because, you know, this piece is going to kind of bend with it, especially because my handles have boning in it and they're a little bit stiffer than they normally would be, which I love. I love the shape they make. Okay, I'm going to put it on this side now. Make sure you're laying it on the correct side of that line. Okay, and now that's basted on. And then the last thing I want to do is a rivet hole through all of these. Make sure that your handle is laying straight before you punch that hole. Okay. And it is 1 inch down from the top. I'm just going to put a little line so I know where my rivet goes. Okay. Nope. Here. And then the reason we're not going to install the rivet yet. We're just putting the hole through the layers because when we are all done, we will punch it through the lining and exterior layers. So I'm going to just center that and punch my hole. Okay. Same with this. Okay, looks good. All right. I'm gonna take my markings off here. Choop, 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 choop. Okay, beautiful. Then we're going to put on our crossbody strap connector here. So we're going to take our little connector. On the right side of it, we are doing a marking 1/4 inch right there. And then up on this side, on the back of it, we're doing a 3/8 inch marking. Okay, so on the back, I've got a 3/8 inch. On the front opposite end, I have 1/4. All right, the way she does this is cool. It's to cut down on the bulk of the connector,
Highly recommend it. Okay. So I'm going to place it wrong side up, right side down along that little marking that I made. So it's got a little crisscross. I'm going to place it right there in that little area, and I am going to sew across that 3/8 inch mark. Make sure it's straight, and don't go off of your connector. You're going to stay on your connector, okay, with these stitches. Okay. Okay, just like that. We're going to put on our hardware, and we're going to fold it down. And now that 1/4 inch line that we marked, that's going to be the edge of our piece, because you want a little overhang, and make sure it's even with the top part. Okay. And now we're just going to baste that on. And later, after we connect this with our lining piece, we will be putting a rivet through it, and that'll just really secure this. All right, and that's it. That is how we put on all of these pieces. Make sure you're getting all of your silver marking pins removed. Beautiful. So now you should do this whole thing twice. So you have 2 of these panels, and we are then going to put these with our lining. We are going to assemble the lining now together. So I have my first lining piece. I like to have the one with the zipper overlay for the back of my lining. And then I know that my zipper panel with the turned edge to the left as well goes on this piece. So we are going to put it right side up. And I have my zipper panels separated because I'm going to add my zipper at the end along with my zipper end cap. So in her pattern, she has the zipper panel together because she already put on her zipper end. Okay, so I'm clipping that on there, right side up. Your zippers should be going the same direction. I'm going to baste this on first. You could tape this on if you wanted to as well. That is an option. All right, and then we want to take one of our top panel pieces, flip it so it's right sides together. Make sure your top's at the top. It should be obvious now that your handle is on. I'm going to line up my center, clip that on, and then I am going to sew this on with my full seam allowance. And then I will flip it up and we'll do a top stitch. All right, you want to flip both the top panel piece and your zipper overlay up, and then you are going to top stitch on the lining piece through that seam allowance, okay? So just a warning to those who have lighter weight machines, if you are using vinyl for all of this top stuff, it does get pretty thick along here, especially with the zipper overlay made the way I did. So just be aware of your machine's capabilities and think about that when you're picking out your materials, okay? All right, so that is my first side. It looks good. I'm going to repeat for my other lining piece right here. Same thing. Right side up with my panel. Centered, and we're going to baste first. Handle, put it down, right sides together. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is put a rivet into our D-ring crossbody strap. So you measure 1/4 inch up from this seam, and that is going to be where you're going to put your hole for this. 1/4 inch. 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 1/4
right there. Okay. And again, you could put a little piece of extra stabilizer behind it. It's not gonna hurt it, it will only help. So I'm gonna get 2 little pieces of Decaville Heavy here. Okay, and then I'll take that to my rivet press and I'll press that in, and I will repeat for the other panel. Gorgeous. I'll go press that, and then we will finish putting this lining together. All right, so the first thing she has you do is actually sew the bottom together. So we're gonna put these right sides together, and we're gonna sew across this bottom edge before we do the sides. All right. All right, so this seam needs to be pressed open, and we don't have material that you can really iron. So I can get some tape and tape it down. I don't know if it'll stay. Sometimes it doesn't seem to want to stick to canvas. So it's not the end of the world if this seam doesn't stay open, so don't get too frustrated about that. Just try your best. I suppose you probably could top stitch this if you really wanted to. I wouldn't see why not. I'm trying to think. I think you could totally top stitch that open. Yeah. So if that's what you prefer to do, go for it. That'd be cute, actually. All right, I'm just taping and pressing mine. That seam roller, that tends to help sometimes. Okay, beautiful. All right, so now we wanted to attach the sides. Most important thing to have lined up is your 2 seams here and here. So I always line those seams up first. Right there. And make sure those look good. And then just clip the rest down. I'll go ahead and do the other side while we're at it. Make sure that your tails for your zipper, if you have them separated like me, make sure they're clipped out of the way so they don't get caught in your seam while you're sewing. That would be good. And we are going to fully close this lining because we are doing a drop-in. So we don't need to leave any openings in it, which is great. All right, so we're just going to sew same seam allowance down the whole thing here. You don't need to change it. All right, so that's what we have right now. So she has you kind of press all of these seams open. Mine does not stay open. I've tried taping and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to give mine a good finger press. And then I am going to do a little cut right here, just right before your seam allowance, not into it. Because just like on your exterior, you need this piece right here to lay flat. All right, so you're going to put some tape on the seam up here. And spread butterfly, open that seam, okay? Yeah. Okay, and then open this seam here. If tape works for you, put some tape on it. And then we want to box our corners. And we want that seam to stay flat and open. All right, so box that corner, flatten that seam out. Just like that, okay? And we'll do that for both sides. You can trim this little box seam down just a little bit to about 1/4 of an inch. You don't need all that extra. Okay, last thing we have to do before we drop this into our exterior is fold the top edge down. So you can use 1/4 or 1/8 inch. I'm using 1/4. Totally your call. And I'm going to put it all along right above my fold line here.
And then I will fold my edge down. And then we're in the home stretch. Whoop, whoop. It's always so awkward to try and get the camera in on this. Okay, take that tape off, or the backing, not the tape, just the backing. And we are going to just fold it to the line. Okay, it's all folded down. We are now going to put this into our exterior, clip it all on, and then I am going to take this to my cylinder arm and sew it. You could totally do this on a flatbed. Nice big opening, not hard at all. All right. All right, so I have my exterior here all folded down and ready to go. I'm gonna pop in my lining, make sure you know your front and back and all that good stuff. Okay. Oh, she's gonna be so pretty. All right, so I like to start with my sides here first. I have my centers all clipped, so I should be able to line the side seam up with this just fine right there. Come do this side seam here. It's a little, got a little extra on my lining for some reason this time. We can work it in there though. There we go. All right, I got it all in there. It all fits beautifully. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so pretty. I'm so excited. Look at that. All right, so I am going to top stitch around this. And then the only other thing that we have to do is install some rivets on the handle here so it stays up, attached to our exterior panel, and then install the zipper panel pull and end cap, and then it's done. Oh, it's so cute. That's gorgeous. All right, here we go. Okay. All done with that top stitch. I'm just gonna give it a good once over. Make sure I caught everything. Yup. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna just line up these rivet holes we made and punch rivets all the way through the layers so our handles stay up like that. And then we'll add on our zipper hardware. Okay, I'll try and show this as best I can. So I'm just going to take it and hold it just like this. And punch a hole through the rest of it. Kind of want to make sure it all lines up. And that went through all layers. Put your rivet in, maybe. Beautiful. Or you can just punch it through this one right here. And then poke it through. That's how I would do it. You don't really need your handle again to poke it through. All right. I did that separate. I did that opposite. Just a second. I usually like to put all my rivets in with the post end going down towards the back. So when it's all done, your handle is riveted to that main panel, so it'll hold it up even better. It looks really pretty. Love it. It's just kind of a lot of layers to handle, but you can do it. There. And there. Okay, I'm gonna go press those rivets on and then we'll do our zipper. All right, I just, put in my sides to see how everything looks, and I love it so much. But okay, I'm gonna undo my sides for a minute. I just need to add my zipper, and I will trim down my tail. Let's put my zipper pull on here. I tend to leave my tail longer than necessary on bags like this, just because I always want the option. You can always trim down, but you can't ever make it longer, Just a minute. I don't think that's right. Nope. Come on. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to just trim this down a little bit. I like to leave it long, but not that long. Probably about right there. Melt. And then I like to do a little piece of tape along the back here. That. And then I'll fold it in thirds. Okay, so it's like that. And then I'll put my zipper end cap on. Just like that. That one slid right on. Sometimes you have to wiggle it way more than that. Okay. Done. So gorgeous. All done. Okay, we're all done. Here's the Charyn handbag. She is gorgeous. The only thing I need to add is a crossbody strap, and you should be good to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. This is such a gorgeous pattern. I cannot tell you enough how much I love, love, love car threads patterns. Like every single one of them is perfection. So I highly recommend, if you have not tried her patterns before, go check her out. You guys, you will not be disappointed. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out. And we will see you all next time. Thank you. Bye.